Good morning. I Jishan Parvesh Molani studying in class 10 in Vidya Pratishthan Someshwar English Medium School CBSE. Today I am presenting my seminar on topic ecosystem and food chain. This topic is from the lesson Our Environment. Our ecosystem. What is ecosystem? Ecosystem is the system where biotic and abiotic components interact with each other. What is meant by biosphere? The combination of the three spheres is known as biosphere. What is lithosphere? The solid earth crust is known as lithosphere, and the water part of the earth is known as hydrosphere, and the air part of the earth is known as atmosphere. What is natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem? Natural ecosystem is the ecosystem which exists on its own. For example, forest, lake. And what is artificial ecosystem? Artificial ecosystem is man-made. For example, aquarium. Here is more information about natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. What are producers, consumers, and decomposers? Producers are those who prepare their own food by photosynthesis, and consumers are those organisms which are dependent on producers for their food directly or indirectly. How directly and indirectly? Deer eats grass. Grass is producer. Means deer is directly dependent on producer grass, and deer eats grass, and lion eats deer. Means lion is indirectly dependent on grass. Means indirectly dependent on producer. And what is decomposer? Decomposers are those who breaks down the dead remain. What is 10% law? According to this law, only 10% of energy is transferred through tropic level to higher level. I will explain it with some examples. Now here, primary producers have 10,000 joule energy. When primary consumer consumes the primary producer, the only 10% of energy will get primary consumer, means 1000 joule. When secondary consumer will consume the primary consumer, only 10% of energy it will get, means 100 joule. And tertiary, when the tertiary consumer will consume the secondary consumer, it will also get only 10% of it, means 10 joule. This is 10% law. What is food chain? A series of organisms each dependent on the next as a source of food. Means here the grasshopper is dependent on producer, and the secondary consumer is dependent on primary consumer, and the tertiary consumer is dependent on the secondary consumer. Means here, if the primary consumer will not be there, then the secondary consumer will also not be there. Similarly, tertiary consumer will not be there, then the secondary consumer quantity will be increased, but the quaternary consumer quantity will be decreased. What is a food web? The combination of several food chains is known as, it forms an web, is known as food web. Food web is the natural interconnections of food chains and a graphical representation of what eats what in an ecological community. Here, grasshopper eats corn, and frog eats grasshopper, but rat also eats the grasshopper. This is the food web. And here the frog is eaten by python, means snake, and frog is also eaten by the eagle. This is an food web. What is bioaccumulation and biomagnification? Bioaccumulation is gradual accumulation of substances such as pesticides or other chemicals in an organism. For example, now here the fishes are small, but when they eat some pesticides or chemicals, they get contaminated. But slowly when their growth happens, the contamination level in the fishes will be more. So at the last stage, as you can see in the image, the contamination level in the fishes are more. Biomagnification. Biomagnification is somehow similar to bioaccumulation. The increasing concentration of substances as toxic chemicals in the tissues of organisms at successively higher levels in the food chain. As a result of biomagnification, organisms at the top of the food chain are more higher. Means uh, this is an organism which is contaminated with some pesticides or chemicals. When these two fishes eat such 10 organisms, the contamination level in the fishes will be more. When, for example, also when big fish will eat such 10 small fishes, it will get more contaminated. So, trophic level, so the at the last tropic level, who is at the last tropic level will be more contaminated. So this is biomagnification. So thank you, my seminar is over. My reference was a YouTube video and Oswald book.